Safe Software is pleased to present the 2009 FME International User Conference. This session is presented by Brendan Cunningham, a GIS project leader and senior developer with Kilkenny County Council in Ireland. Brendan has a master's degree in GIS and a particular interest in SMS email alert systems that link FME, GIS and web technologies.
Thanks. Well, it's good to be here. I'm delighted I get the opportunity to present this topic. We've made great headway with linking FME with other web technologies, especially with cell phone and email. First, a quick introduction. I can wager I'm the only person at this conference who will start by introducing himself through a headstone. I've had very little relationship towards Canada in the past, so it's a big deal to travel this far and to be here today. I'm from a small town about 20 kilometres east of Kilkenny City. I actually grew up in this house in the background. You can kind of see it with the red chimney. And in the foreground here we've got a ruined church, and then we've got a headstone here, which is John Mulrooney, who went on to become Prime Minister of Canada from 1985 to 1993. So that was the biggest day in our village's history, and we still talk about it religiously. I had to mention that in Canada. I work for a local authority called Kilkenny County Council. You might know Kilkenny from the beer name. It's a county in Ireland as well. The local authority serves, from 2006 census figures, it serves 85,000 people. Of those 85,000 people, only 2 of us work in GIS. We have arranged, we're not locked down to any particular package or piece of software. We use MapInfo MicroStation AutoCAD for digitising. We use ArcIMS and Google Maps for publishing. Obviously, they don't all talk to each other natively, so we do use FME practically for everything. So it's been helping us so much over the last few years. So the best thing you can do is go backpacking, and you might find FME or some such piece of software. Mapping in Kilkenny, I suppose, pre-FME days was 1758, which was what this map came from. I suppose it is old. If I suppose Don was around back then, he might have blacker hair or something like that. But I'm not so sure. Just to show you the city centre, this is, I suppose the major point here would be, this is Kilkenny Castle, which is probably the flagship of Kilkenny tourism. It's absolutely fantastic. It's listed in Lonely Planet's top 5 attractions in Ireland. You can see it here again in 1840. Don's going a bit light on top when this one was taking place. But then, of course, we've got vector mapping. Things obviously got a bit better. We eventually started using FME and obviously used Polygon Builder, so it added a lot more value to our data rather than flat polylines. So thanks for that, guys. What I'm here to talk about is, without using any FME screenshots, I'll essentially say we use point on area for this application. We have a list of registered citizens, call them your points. We've got a list of polygons, call them your service locations. So if I'll give examples around the bottom of the slide. So if the council's water supply is switched off, that's a polygon of water supply schemes. If there's flood warning, floods are obviously polygons as well, where they're going to be affected. So citizens can register on the council's website at reports.kilkennycoco.ie. The link is going to be available. It gives information on a localised level. We do a lot of geo-filtering. So of all the 85,000 people in Kilkenny, only a small pocket of the county might have its water service disrupted. So for that reason, we can filter the points of the registered users into that polygon. We'll only perhaps send an SMS message to 100 of those users. So it cuts down on your SMS costs and effort, and it's obviously more practical. If you live 50 kilometres away, you don't want to hear whose water is being switched off. It's not really relevant. So I suppose this is the visual example. You've got your local residents in this rural part of County Kilkenny called Stonyford. This is our water supply scheme and outage, and if we switch this to a thematic, you can quickly see that only people who fall within that polygon will actually receive a text message. We use Google Maps as the registration process. I think I'll quote, it's a nice time to quote James Fee, that people expect Google Maps, and I couldn't agree more. I just think everybody uses it, they know how to use it. There's no learning curve with Google Maps. And when you're dealing with, we want people to sign up for this service who may not be web professionals, they may not be web users only once a week, once a month. It's not their daily task. So when they do go to this, we don't want to alienate people from having to click an icon with a magnifying glass plus or magnifying glass minus. It just gets a little complex because they don't use GIS. Again, I've just mentioned we filter user locations against polygons. So how do we send our text messages? We actually link FME outputs into SQL Server tables. which, when updated, dynamically trigger off other events using external software. SQL Server Reporting Services being that. So we use SQL Server Reporting Services 2005, and it's working quite well, so we get FME to talk to that. Luckily for me and my colleague Aoife, who's obviously, she's the second person working in GIS in County Kilkenny, luckily for us, people don't come to us saying, please send us, please publish this notification. We go into FME Workbench, press run. We have a front end, it's an open source content management system that it's Joomla based, and basically each department, whether it be water, roads or planning, can go in and say, I want to send out a new report, and it's all done with a relational database. Another visual of it, point on area, I've mentioned that's how it works. We also use Spatial Filters, Spatial Relator, Neighbour Finder for various purposes, and obviously buffering. If we've got line data that we don't have a specific polygon of, we end up using our buffer to give us a kind of a maximum tolerances in. So that's working quite well for us. We're using this obviously for hazards more so, but we're also using it for scheduled services within the council, such as road closures. We're beginning to use it for hopefully road accidents and kind of instant data, I suppose, on a local scale. Like so, we send our SMS messages through an API with a text messaging company. We happen to choose one, but there are hundreds out there. It's less than 1 cent to send a text message to a citizen. However, that's not going to break our bank, so we actually offer this for free. It's a completely free service to the citizen. It's changing the model that we deal with our citizens. Until now, the problem was people would traditionally have to listen to their local radio station. They would have to read the local newspaper, or they would have to hear it from family or friends if your water supply was being turned off. However, this obviously gets around that, and we're pushing the information rather than relying on a citizen to find out. This is visualizing how our query works. So you've got a username called Brendan C. I've registered with my lat long details on a Google map. I've given my cell phone number. I've got the water polygons and associated attributes. Link one against the other, and you've pretty much got dynamic content kicking in from these tables here. This is a screenshot. If I have time at the end of the presentation, I will go onto the web and show you how this works. It's at reports.kilkennycoco.ie. If I was to say click on around the bridge at Kilkenny Castle, and the one thing that's different there is, I'll just try and go back. You keep an eye down here now. Pretty much, it's just a bit of JavaScript I put together. It's capturing your coordinates and putting them in a web form. Sounds simple, very effective. It's made Google Maps a point data entry tool for us. This looks quite complex. We've what we've lined out as 7 distinct parts. We've got FME, we've got 2 web applications, which is the front-end user registration system, the back-end management system for departments, and obviously we've got a database for each. We use reporting services and we use the text messaging API. All in all, they worked hand in hand, FME being at the center of all that. Also, I've made it scalable. If we want to add notifications for planning alerts, for a gas leak, if the gas companies want to deal with us, we can just update our FME workspace, create a couple of new SQL tables, and we're home and dry. We also use this to deliver PDF reports. So again, using reporting services, we export our FME data out to a series. We have a series of lookups from our attributes, and using point on area, we can pretty much link up a user's location versus all GIS information we have for that point. I'll demo that in a couple of minutes. And again, it's a new innovative technique with local citizens, and we're very proud of it. Future of the application for us is we're going to have version 2 within the next few months, and version 2 it's all well and good mapping your point, but in terms of road closures, road notifications, not always, your house isn't exactly the center of the universe. If you've got a 30-kilometer commute, we're going to allow you to digitize a polyline in Google Maps, so you'll be able to tell us what your daily commute is. So what you'll do is you won't get flood alerts. Well, actually, you might get flood alerts for your commute line. You will get road accident notifications, road closure notifications based on that information. Not sure about live traffic reports. That's what we're hoping to do. We've got to deal with our traffic authorities for that. And again, another application would be leak warnings, potential explosions with our gas company. Fire hydrants, obviously. Our fire department would love this type of thing. We link with the fire department is part of the council, so this is also something we're working on in the next few months. So FME, bringing the world together, it's an excellent title, and it was what prompted me to put in a proposal for this. I see countless uses for this around the world. If you were to use bringing the world together and international boundaries and whatnot, this could be used for tsunamis, earthquakes, floods, forest fire systems, anything that crosses a boundary. You're not localised to county council-based polygons. You can actually go extend this system a lot more. A kidnap warning system is another good example of how this could be used. I'll demo these in a couple of minutes. Any other major emergency, obviously swine flu is very topical at the moment. If you want to map diseases with polygons around it, if there's a confirmed case, this is your concept. Believe it or not, I only found this out recently. Ireland was hit by a tsunami. If I was to tell this to anyone at home, they'd go, yeah, right, don't think so. But the epicenter was in the Azores off the Portuguese coast. If you quickly read over there just the countries and locations, it hit Spain, Northern Africa, Ireland up to the north, and as far west as the West Indies. This is your epicenter right here. So think about where that hit. And suddenly you've got, I'm sure it might have done a little bit of damage here too if it got this far. But the problem with this is, obviously back in the 70s when Dawn had black hair, this didn't, there was no way of using something like FME to actually say, when is the tsunami going to hit the West Indies? So think of a citizen out there at the time. They're just basically, there is no notifications in 1755. So how long from the epicenter to a point is a major problem. Jump forward 250 odd years, and you've got what was a terrible tragedy in the Indian Ocean in December 26, 2004, where 250,000 people lost their lives. However, technology's come on a long way since then. A guy in the States has actually done a modeling. He has a model system that if you know the epicenter of a tsunami with a couple of parameters, you can quickly find out how quick it's traveling and where it's traveling to. So think of my application for the water supply outages. You've got your epicenter, you've got your buffer or an FME, you've got your point on area when you've got your registered citizens around the coast. And what you can do with this system is potentially send a text message with dynamic content. So you're using your local language in India, your local language in Somalia, and your local language in South Africa, each giving different messages, so it's dynamic. You're telling Indian people 1 to 3 hours there is a tsunami on its way to hit your coast. Somalian people will get 6 to 8 hours, and so on. So I suppose the project steps, define your buffers based on the tsunami. That's something, I can't find a buffer based on a tsunami. That's a modelling system. It's something else external, and again, this is a potential use. Point on area is something I do understand and use, and obviously sending text messages. Very topical also is the Madeleine McCann case. And firstly, I'd like to thank the Madeleine McCann campaign for actually allowing me to use these images, which is obviously they're very busy and they're very taken up at the moment. So it was very nice of them. But if you take a kidnap location as a centre point, link with your cell towers, and say do a buffer of 50 kilometres around you using FME. What you can easily do then is say send a text message or a multimedia message with a photograph of that child saying, "Dear Dale, a girl aged 3 was kidnapped within 25 kilometres of your home. She had blue eyes, blonde hair, red jumper, blue jeans. Please join the local effort," because the first couple of hours, as probably we all know, is absolutely crucial to determining if this child is going to be found and found alive and well. So it's another potential good application for this. Very similar to the tsunami, mind you. It's a buffer-based query using point on area for citizens. Obviously, there would be a bit more effort if you want to link this up to cell towers, but it is possible. I've consulted with our cell phone companies in Dublin, and this is something that they would find great use out of. And what I'm working on at the moment is actually integrating not just SMS text messages, but multimedia messages where a photo of a child could possibly be used. So I have developed a working copy of this as a concept, and it looks like it's very use. This is Kieran Castle, which I spoke about earlier. FME is not actually draped onto the side of Kieran Castle in reality. But
how much would it cost?
I'll do it for free. I think that'd be great to do. So just to say, thanks very much. It's been absolutely great. If you want, I don't know, how am I doing for time?
You're all right.
Okay, good. We'll go. If I can get up to this. How quick is the web? Dum, dum, dum.
ask a question while it's loading up?
Good idea.
How do you think this was scaling? I mean, you're talking big geographic areas,
Yep.
which also increases your user base. How do you think this is going to scale up as you start, let's say it's even worldwide?
Okay.
You really want to think big.
Well, first and foremost, I work for a county council, so for my everyday job, I think local. I think Kilkenny boundaries.
Right.
What I'm throwing out there is that there are potential uses for this, apart from Kilkenny. So I haven't really, to answer your question, I haven't really considered the global, how we would do it on a global basis. I have ideas, but I'm not sure how practical they are. You'd have to you're dealing with multiple cell phone technologies. You're dealing with multiple cultures, regions, availability to cell phone technology. So there's a lot of unknowns at the moment for that.
Have you had any like major outages, like countywide?
It's not practical for countywide scheme. Water supply scheme, definitely. Yeah, we've had full schemes that have been knocked out for a couple of hours here and there. So that's kind of been a big example.
How many people do you have registered on the?
We've got about 400 people registered, which might not sound like a big number overall, but it is in Kilkenny terms. Like if you break 85,000 people down, you've got take out your under 15s who have no interest in their water supply scheme being switched off. Take out your over 65s who have no interest in going on the internet, and take everybody in the middle and take the no interested from them, and you've pretty much left with a small number. So we're talking like take versus Brisbane, where you're from. Like it's probably a different scale of numbers, I suppose. Pretty much this is it, guys. It's just a Google map. Enter all your usernames, everything that you would when you're signing up for an email address, with the one exception. You've got 2 read-only fields set here, and all you have to do is click, and suddenly you've got your coordinates. And we press what do you want to get notifications on, and so on. So that's it. Works quite well. Just to show you how the PDF reports, we do have a goodie bag for anybody who registers. As I mentioned in the presentation, we do link up our user point when they register, and we compare it to other GIS data sets that we have. So hopefully Adobe will kick off here. So based on latitude, longitude that this person's provided, we've linked it to our address database. We've used the reprojector to give it our Irish coordinates from lat long, and we've got values auto-populated to open up our ArcIMS application on the web. If you want to see where you are on Google Maps, we've got all the values auto-populated there. I'll just show you one more very quickly. Probably a good one would be local services, which makes use of the nearest neighbour transformer. But I suppose I'll quote Dale from his morning presentation. You've got to be trying things to get the winners, and we're definitely working on that. Like as in, if you see here, we're supporting 4 notification systems, 5 different types of PDF report. I hope if I'm talking to you guys in a couple of years on something like this, that we've got probably 15 to 20. We're notifying people on everything. We've had excellent buy-in from senior staff so far, so I can't thank them enough. Again, look at this. We've got all our these are admin boundaries at various levels in Ireland. Where is your nearest county council office? Where is your nearest library, post office? So it's all linked up through a SQL database, and all that person needed to do was click on a Google map and press submit, and we've given them this. So it's an excellent resource. Excuse me. Finally, special thanks to 4 people working in Kilkenny local authorities. I'd like to thank Lackfear, who's been at the end of my emails more often than not, and Erin for her help with my slides. Again, the findmadeleinecampaign.com. Finally, on behalf of Kilkenny County Council, it's a major deal for someone to come from Kilkenny or from Ireland to come to an international software conference, and I'm honoured to present. And I'm a massive fan of FME, and without it, I'd be lost, possibly made redundant. So for that reason, I'd like to make a brief presentation to Dale and Don for letting me speak at your conference. This is the history of Kilkenny through art. So. Hopefully, I'll just see that you got your right book. Dale, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. And Don, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Questions, anyone? Yeah.
This is maybe not perfectly on topic, but I'm curious how you found FME during a backpacking trip.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that. Yeah, no. as all backpackers do, they run out of money at some stage, and you have to go to the job agencies in Melbourne and pretty quickly go, where is there a GIS job? So I got 10 weeks work in Victorian State Government, and they had ArcGIS and ArcGIS applications. I was more tuned into MapInfo, but they were trying to consolidate data sets from other local authorities within Victorian State. So I became their MapInfo officer of sorts, and there was a projection issue. And I said, okay, I can't get from this to this using MapInfo. So they said, well, we've got FME. So puppy dog eyes were, what? What was that? So pretty much I saw FME, and then I got back home. I was on a career break, so when I got back to my job, it was straight into the shopping cart. So that's it.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you.